Alrighty, so the first three games of a busy match week number 22 weekend, aka Heineken Rivalry Part 2 of the 2021 MLS season, is in the books, and let's jump straight into talking about these three derby. That is the Hell is Real Derby, the Canadian Classique, and then of course the Florida Derby. And we start off with the Hell is Real Derby, and there was no doubt that if you ask me which is the most entertaining game out of these three derby that we had on Friday night, this one was definitely the one, and probably by a long margin, because this was kind of chaotic with the way of how end to end this game kind of was throughout how this one plays out. But in the end, it was the Columbus Crew snapping their 6-game losing streak by winning 3-2 against FC Cincinnati, and you can also say that this was probably the most Cincinnati way of them losing this one, and we'll talk about why exactly that is the case. And also, their goalkeeper Kenneth Vermeer kind of had a 0-0 moment throughout this entire game, because early on, 5 minutes into this one, he was able to deny Etienne, who was going through on goal, before Columbus was very unlucky to not get the opening goal in the 8th minute after Diaz basically had an empty net to shoot. And you talk about one of the worst miss so far we've seen this season. That was definitely one of them. I mean, Luis Diaz, I know he was unlucky of hitting the post there, but he had an empty net to shoot in the back post. Like, how in the world did you not able to put that one into the back of the net? And then on the follow-up, Zarian actually tried to do a cheeky chip, and that one almost went in as it struck the top part of the post. And yeah, that was one of the rare times that we see a team on the same sequence of play hit the post twice and unable to score a goal. But there was no doubt that Columbus was looking threatening early in this game. But that being said, in the 13th minute, Brenier puts it wide after a bad turnover from the Columbus backline. I mean, doing this 6-game losing streak, this Columbus backline has been absolutely dreadful. And this was another one of those moments where it kind of summarized why exactly they're in this 6-game losing streak, where their backline sometimes with these careless kind of turnover in their own half. And this one was almost punished by FC Cincinnati. But in the 28th minute, Alan Cruz did try to go for a long-range effort that goes wide. And all of a sudden, it looked like Cincinnati were the more likely to get the opening goal, right? Well, no, because in the 45th minute, just when we were about to get into stoppage time, Zarian scored a trademark free kick goal to make it 1-0 in favor of Columbus. I mean, I don't think that should be a big surprise, because he makes that look really easy with him just kind of bending that one to the top left of the post. I mean, Vermeer had absolutely no chance in terms of saving that one, and gives Columbus a 1-0 lead. But unfortunately, that lead barely lasted 90 seconds, because Cincinnati, on the other end, would score or to tie the game up right on the stroke of halftime. And it's Matarrita who scores to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And, Zarian, or Matarrita probably saw Zarian score an incredible goal. And I'm like, yeah, I can one-up that by scoring an absolute missile from about 30 yards out, and give Cincinnati the equalizer right on the stroke of halftime. And also, speaking of which, we were all tied up at 1 apiece in this Hell is Real Derby. Now, in the second half, Hagelin did drive one high from long range in the 46th minute, before on the other end, Vermeer was able to deny Zarian from a long range effort. But he did kind of allow a juicy rebound, which Cameron was able to just clear that one away. And juicy rebound, what turns out to be the difference in terms of this game. And don't be surprised that isn't going to be the last time I'm going to mention that about Kenneth Vermeer, because after that moment, I thought the game was kind of very end to end to start the second half, and it would kind of continue throughout the second half. Acosta drags it wide from close range in the 72nd minute, before quickly on the other end, Vermeer was able to deny Etienne, and then just 1 minute later, able to deny Liam Fraser. And then on the other end, Cincinnati scored. And it's Atunga that scored from Acosta to give FC Cincinnati a 2-1 lead. And you're just thinking, is that finally the moment where maybe that could be the winning goal, with the way how this game is end to end? And it looks like whoever is going to get that next goal is going to be very crucial. Well, the answer is no, because just like how when Columbus took the lead early in this game, it didn't last very long. It was the same case here, although it kind of lasted a little bit longer than 90 seconds. This one did last about 6 minutes before Miguel Berry ties the game up at 2 apiece. And yeah, Vermeer, that was not a great moment for him. And I talked about how throughout the game, he was kind of becoming a hero to zero. That was definitely a zero moment where he literally allowed a juicy rebound right into the path of Miguel Berry to tie the game up. And then 2 minutes later, he did it again. This time it was another long-range effort where he fumbles the shot. Although I will say that this is also partially on Valencia, who basically tried to clear that one away, and it just kind of came off of Miguel Berry, who basically ricocheted back into the back of the net. But still, that probably wouldn't have happened if Vermeer would have just easily catch that one. But instead, he just kind of spilled it, allowed a juicy rebound in the box. And I talk about how many times when you decide to do that as a goalkeeper, you're basically asking in terms of getting score on. And unsurprisingly, that of course was the case. And in the span of 90 seconds, Columbus, who were 2-1 down, and looked staring at a historic 7-game losing streak, which would be the longest losing streak in their franchise history, was on verge to snapping that 6-game losing streak, and they would end up doing so, as despite the fact that Cincinnati did try a late push to make this a free game, it wasn't meant to be, as in the end, Columbus was able to win 3-2 against FC Cincinnati in this Hell is Real derby, as the shots in this one, 22 shots compared to 17 that FC Cincinnati has, 11 shots on goal compared to 4 that Cincinnati has, 8 shots off target compared to 7 that Cincinnati has, 3 shots out of block compared to 4 that Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession that Cincinnati has in this game. And like I said, this was a very Cincinnati way of them losing the game, because this has been the problem for Cincinnati this season, where just as you think that this team was going to get a win, and just as you think that them scoring a big goal could maybe turn the fortune of their season, or even and get a big win in this rivalry game, no, things quickly turn on its heads. And yeah, I think this is even more frustrating than the last one, where remember the last Hell is Real derby, they blew a 2-0 lead at home to drew 2-2. This one is going to be even more frustrating and sting more, because they took a late lead only to just blow it in a span of 2 minutes because of just dumb goalkeeping mistake from Vermeer, having trouble hanging on to the ball, that was kind of the big issue that he had, especially in the second half, and therefore that was really one of the biggest, not the biggest reason why Cincinnati wasn't able to get a win. But for Columbus, this was definitely a much needed win, and there's no doubt that, as much as I know they're going to celebrate this win into the night, because anytime when you beat your most hated rival in a rivalry game, you would definitely celebrate and get that bragging rights. But at the same time, I think there's no doubt still some concern for Caleb Porter in terms of looking at this team, where this team is still making some defensive mistake, where on another day when they play against a much tougher team, they of course will be punished. And not to mention those two late goals that they were able to get to win the game, those were two very fortunate event where, if they were face another good team, where they face a good goalkeeper, they're probably not going to have those opportunities like they did had in this game against FC Cincinnati. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is the Canadian Classique between Montreal and Toronto. And unsurprisingly, I talked about how Montreal, for once, are actually the favorites coming into this Canadian Classique. And in the end, they would get the 3-1 win against TFC, albeit this game kind of got ruined because there was a red card that happened early in this one. Because after, in the second minute, where Torres almost gave Montreal the early lead in the Canadian Classique as he fired one high from long range, the red card happened. And they actually go to VAR to see whether or not if Akelo did put a really bad challenge on Wanyama, where he pretty much put his studs all the way up into the needs of Wanyama, and the answer is yes. And anytime when that happens, that of course is going to be a red card. But in some way, as much as I understand that is the case, this does mean that this might have just ruined the Canadian Classique, and that Montreal was kind of just going to dominate the rest of the way. Although that kind of didn't seem like was the case if you actually watched the game, but they kind of did that for the remaining of the first half, because in the 16th minute, Mihailovic did hit one wide from 16 yards out before Montreal finally got their deserved lead after putting a lot of pressure on TFC after the red card. And it's Samuel Piette scoring his second career goal to make it 1-0 in favor of Montreal. Originally, it was a good save from Quentin Westbrook, denying Mihailovic there on the free kick, but Piette was just in the right place, right time to pretty much slot that one in to clean up the rebound and give Montreal a 1-0 lead. And they could have made it 2-0 if Mihajlovic would have actually put one on target from 19 yards out, but unfortunately he puts that one high. But yeah, as I said, Montreal was all over TFC since the red card. Westberg did rob Johnson, who tried to backheel it from close range. Quentin Westberg no doubt had a great game in this one. I mean, I know he did give up 3 goals, and I don't think any of the 3 goals was really on him, but he really kept this team as long as possible in this one, especially heading into halftime too, because again, Montreal was pushing for that second goal. Another opportunity in the 37th minute. Espiet was looking to try to get a brace, but Westberg was able to deny him there in the 37th minute, and we head to halftime with Montreal only having that 1-0 lead. And that could turn out to be crucial heading into the beginning part of the second half, because despite the fact that not much happened in the first 13 minutes, Toronto was getting a foothold into this game, and you can definitely see there was some confidence for TFC, knowing the fact that yes, we might be down a man, but if we can continue to maybe show some pressure as we did in the second half and come out as the better team, we're going to get the equalizer. And they did. In the 57th minute, Achara scored from Satado to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And, you know, that definitely kind of shocked the 18,000 that was at Stade Saputo, which, by the way, I believe this was a capacity crowd at Stade Saputo, because I didn't see a lot of empty seats in the stadium, which kind of proved me that, you know, because of how big this game is, obviously it seems like Montreal did try to convince the local government to put full capacity, and the local government decided to say, yeah, you know what, fine, because it is a big rivalry game, we will go full capacity. So yeah, you know, that was great to see that happen. Consider that has not happened in a Canadian venue for a very long time. But certainly those fans there, besides the 500 traveling Toronto fans, were probably absolutely shocked. The fact that they would be up a man for that long and just dominate throughout this game, and now they find themselves tied up at 1 apiece. But I will give credit to Montreal. They did kind of shake off that shock a little bit and started to dominate again heading into the last 25 minutes of the game. Because in the 67th minute, after Wayama drives one from 24 yards out that goes straight to Quentin Westberg, Montreal would retake the lead. And it's Joaquin Torres that scored from Bro Diaz and Mihajlovic. What a goal this was from Torres to basically bends that one to the right side from long range to give Montreal a 2-1 lead. And not long after, they would pretty much kill this game off, as Kyoto would score from Mihajlovic to make it 3-1 in favor of Montreal. And then just 6 minutes later, Kyoto looked like made it 4-1 in favor of Montreal, but the goal was disallowed for offside. And I gotta say, yeah, that probably might have not been offside, because the original angle I look at it, it looked like he was actually level with the last defender. And that, in some way, I feel like they clearly should have gone to VAR in terms of looking at. But the good news is, at least that happened right when Montreal was winning 3-1. And, you know, I also kind of wrote the floodgates was definitely opening. Like, you can clearly see this TFC team just checked out as soon as they gave up that second goal and gave up that third goal. And I just fear that this could get really ugly for TFC. But in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, Westberg was making sure to not make this an absolute embarrassment in the Canadian Classique, as he would able to deny Torres, who went through on goal but just couldn't quite put away that 4th goal for Montreal. But in the end, Montreal does walk away with a 3-1 victory, and the stats pretty much prove that they deserved it, because they had 19 shots compared to just 3 shots in the entire game for TFC. 10 shots on goal compared to 2 that TFC had. 5 shots off target compared to 1 that TFC had. 6 blocks compared to none that TFC had. And possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that TFC has in this game. And, you know, for Montreal, big win for them. Certainly well-deserved with the way that, not only the fact that, you know, I know they must feel the pressure that they were the favorites coming into this game, but it's not all the time where you can see a team that is up a man for that long a period and still able to capitalize to get a win. I'm looking at you, Minnesota, in terms of how the last two games have went to. But yeah, unlike that, Montreal was able to capitalize, and they get a much-deserved 3 points against TFC in this Canadian Classique. But that being said, moving on into the next game, and to talk about a team that didn't capitalize their opportunity, is Orlando City, in a game where for the very first time a Florida derby does end in a 0-0 draw, but in many ways Orlando will be kicking themselves that they did not get a winner in this game, especially the fact that they not only had multiple opportunity to do so, but they had a penalty in this game that could have gave them the only goal in this Florida derby, but they just wasn't able to put that one away. Now, in the first half, I thought there was a couple of half chances for Orlando, as I thought they were on the front foot. Junior Urso did had a free header in the 5th minute, but he missed wide before the penalty was given to Orlando in the 11th minute after Figao basically handballed it in the box, and clearly that was a handball. I mean, when that ball kind of struck Figao and his arm was outstretched, yeah, that is no doubt it's going to be a handball, which give Orlando City a big opportunity to take the lead. And I think at that time, Orlando City fans are probably happy that Nani wasn't actually the player that takes the penalty, because you know what happened in that MLS All-Star game when Nani took a penalty in the penalty shootout? Yeah, they would not want to remember that moment. I mean, it didn't cost the MLS All-Star, but yeah, that was one of the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. So they were hoping that maybe Tesha Akindele wouldn't actually repeat the same mistake that Nani did in the All-Star game. And while Akindele did at least put that one on target, yeah, this was not a good penalty either. I mean, he basically hit this one very weakly, which Morrisman basically gets the right way, easily saved that one. Like, honestly, if you want to know a bad penalty, the way that you know a bad penalty every time is that when a goalkeeper can easily smother that ball and doesn't even palm that one away, you know that it is a bad penalty, because this looked like it was a routine save for Morrisman, just easily catch that one and didn't even have to parry that one out for a rebound. And yeah, that was a huge opportunity for Orlando to get the opening goal of the game, but they weren't able to convert. And I thought after the slow start in this game, I thought Miami did start to get back into this game somewhat, and they kind of had their best opportunity in the 22nd minute when Gallese absolutely robbed Pizarro in the back post. And with how hot Rodolfo Pizarro has been in the last couple of games, you would think that he would actually put that one into the back of the net. But Pedro Gallese with a big save there in the 22nd minute. Before in the 25th minute, Orlando thought that they got the opening goal when Vanderwater basically hit an absolute missile that would end up into the back of the net. And like I said, Orlando thought that they were up 1-0 in this game, but here's the problem. Akindele kind of got in the way of that shot, and when you look on the replay, yeah, he was in an offside position, and to the worst fear of Orlando City fans, they did go to VAR. And I knew when they go to decide, like, this was even before VAR, when I saw the replay of how Akindele was clearly in an offside position, I knew this goal was going to be disallowed. And when they did go to VAR, it was pretty clear that that one was going to be disallowed, and indeed it was. So this game remains 0-0, but Orlando definitely continued to try to push for the opening goal, as they would kind of start to dominate possession, and Miami was just kind of getting pinned deep in their own half. I mean, I guess maybe Phil Neville's strategy or tactics in this game is try to sit deep and maybe counter against this Orlando City team, and it just kind of didn't work out throughout this one. And instead, they just kind of never got that counter attack going, and most of the time just kind of giving the ball away very cheaply in the midfield. But the one rare chance that they did have in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, Higuain actually put the ball into the back of net, but unfortunately he was in an offside position. And this one, yeah, again, it was pretty clear that he was maybe about a yard or two offside. But you're hoping maybe this moment can maybe boost Miami heading into the second half as we head to halftime 0-0 in this Florida derby. But instead, that was not the case, because in the second half, it was kind of a scrappy start to the second half, as neither team really looked threatening in the final third. But Orlando did eventually start to look threatening, and once again was pressuring Miami. Mueller had a big opportunity in the 64th minute, but he puts it high from 20 yards out, before Gallese did have to deny Higuain on a rare chance that Inter Miami has. And then Orlando continued to, knowing that they were dominating, they continued to bring on the cavalry. They already brought on the cavalry by bringing DK back in the fold in the start of the second half, and now they're bringing Nani, who just played in the All-Star game, and of course are summoning off the bench. And as soon as I thought when Nani comes in, this was bad news if you're an Inter Miami fan, because Nani has a knack of scoring late goals, and I was definitely betting on the fact that he is probably going to score that goal against Inter Miami late in this one, especially. He already did it against Inter Miami back in the MLS's back tournament. But in the 83rd minute, Marsman would probably make the biggest save of the game after he absolutely robbed DK and Carlos from close range. I couldn't tell, was it actually DK or Antonio Carlos the one that kind of hits that one in, because both of them kind of attempt to try to hit that one in, but nevertheless, Marsman full stretch able to deny both of these guys that was trying to give Orlando the opening goal. And really, as the time winds down, Orlando continued to push for the opener, while Miami was just kind of parking the bus and almost hoping that they can walk away with another draw at Exploria Stadium. DK did win through on goal in the 86th minute, but unfortunately completely miskicked that one. And he's also kind of fortunate that the flag actually went up after he miskicked that one, because that would have been a terrible miss by Daryl DK. And, you know, DK is a guy that I'm not going to judge too much on him because he just came back from injury. But yeah, that is definitely not a moment he would like to remember. And I think if we do have a healthy Daryl DK, he would definitely put that one into the back of the net. But just 2 minutes later, Urso did have a chance to try to curl this one from 18 yards out, and actually didn't miss by much, but it just went a little bit wide on the top left of the post. And in the end, despite the fact that Orlando City put so much pressure on Miami late in the game, Miami was able to survive and drew 0-0 against Orlando City in this Florida derby. Shots in this one, 15 shots compared to 5 that Inter Miami has. Both teams had 2 shots on goal, 9 shots off target compared to just 1 that Miami has in this game. 2 shots that was blocked compared to 4 that Orlando City has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Inter Miami has in this game. And again, Orlando will be kicking themselves that they did not get all 3 points in this one, and they will definitely felt like it's 2-point drops for them. But for Inter Miami, you know, I think they'll be happy with getting a draw, considering the fact that they were definitely under siege for a lot of this period. And also, anytime when you were able to get a roll point, especially against Orlando City at Exploria Stadium, which is a place that not a lot of teams are able to get a point from that stadium, it's always going to be a bonus. And now let's just hope, maybe they're going to hope that some of the teams that they're chasing around them are also going to be dropping points so that they can stay in this playoff race. But that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these free games? And like I said, tomorrow we got 7 games that is going to be happening, and I am actually going to do the preview of those 7 games right after when I finish uploading this video. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.